What was your "it can't be that easy, it was that easy" moment in your life? Story 1. Lived in Jersey, and a friend invited me to a commercial audition at an NYC bar. Went because of bar. Auditioned after 2 beers. Left thinking it was a waste of time. A month later, I get a call that they want to use me for the commercial. Director was the guy who directed the original Space Jam. I got lines and ended up in 2 of their commercials and got a $40K payday where I thought someone made a clerical error. Started my acting career and now a writer, director, flight attendant. Story 2. Fixing clogged drains. Started out because my sink drain plug wouldn't stay up. Poked around under the sink and found the pop-up rod had rusted completely through and broken. Cost me $5 for a new one at the plumbing supply store next to where I worked at the time. Took 5 minutes to figure out how to swap, and now I know how sink and shower drains come apart, which makes unclogging them simple. Maybe it's just me, but in my brain it seemed like that was something I'd have to call a plumber to come unclog, but it's all remarkably simple. Story 3. Found a 60 TV by the dumpster. Plugged it in, didn't turn on. Looked up common problems with the model number, bought a part on eBay for $20, replaced part, had a huge TV. Edit. Wow, that is many upvotes. I didn't even know Reddit gave trophies for best comment and day, and I'm kinda confused why I got it for fixing a TV. Anyways, so fun to hear about everyone's similar experiences. Let's all keep fixing shit that turns out to be $20 or less with minimal effort from not being shit. Story 4. When I was looking for my first service a few years ago, I was taken advantage of by a trainer in Virginia. I purchased a psychiatric service dog for $10,000 in August 2020 and took possession of him in April 2021. During this time, I communicated my needs and expectations with his trainer, but looking back, those were glossed over in her responses. Fezzik was also involved in a car crash. The towed trailer was destroyed, and he was in the vehicle doing the towing, so he likely experienced some jolting, loud sounds, sharp movements. But I was not made aware until I stumbled across a GFM she set up 2 days after the fact. I was assured Fezzik would be fine, and he was happy in his training, so I let it go. Unfortunately, after I got him home and let Fezzik acclimate to his new surroundings, he was unable to perform even basic obedience, never mind the tasks I required. I reached out to the trainer twice for assistance. Once was essentially walked through training him to sit, and once, when I asked her to provide all the commands he should know, I was ignored. I struggled for 5 months, falling in love with this train wreck of a greyhound. But after an incident in Target that involved having to call my sister out of work, I ultimately needed to return him that August. I was accused of mishandling and mistreating him, to the point the trainer said Fezzik was unsafe with me with no evidence to support the claim. When she said 2 individuals from Maine, not affiliated with the training company, would pick him up, I said no. She could drive to Massachusetts so I could demonstrate his lack of training. In the end, I gave the 2 strangers my dog, with witnesses, and was informed that GHSD would not issue a refund, despite failing to provide the fully trained psychiatric service dog I contracted for. I couldn't afford another SD without reimbursement, but she continued to refuse. So in October 2021, I filed a $7,000, max allowed by state, suit with MA Small Claims, and the case was heard in March 2022. Judgment was found in my favor, and a payment hearing was set for May 4th, which she failed to show up to, so then it was up to me to figure out how to get my settlement over state lines. I contacted Virginia County Court and was told how I could transfer the judgment from MA to VA. But first they advised sending a letter of intent, which usually gets payment settled. Shortly after this letter was sent, I received payment of the settlement in full from the trainer, but it was a lot of chasing pavement after winning the case. Story 5. When I was a kid, we used to regularly dumpster dive for electronics. The vast majority of electronics are thrown away because some minor part is broken. Oftentimes, it's as simple as a fuse. Learn how to use a multimeter and do basic soldering, and you'll be able to do a ton of home repairs. Update. People keep asking me where to learn this stuff. YouTube is your best friend. Big Clive is my go-to, also a channel called Joe's Classic Video Games, where I learned so much about tracing down faults. There's also a dozen warnings about learning how to discharge capacitors. You should follow them as they can kill you. But luckily, the method to discharge them is really simple. Start small. Practice on things you don't mind breaking. You'll definitely break things. And don't fuck with microwave ovens. Seriously, call an expert. Story 6. I've hated every job I've ever had. At 18, I joined the military for 6 years. That sucked the whole time. Then went into customer service at Walmart, and they were a bunch of assholes to everyone. Tried security, and they were just degrading. Job after job doing what I thought was the right thing. I decided to apply for a local HVAC company just working call center. Nothing big. I think there are a total of 9 of us on phones. Honestly, it's the best job I've ever had. We all get along, spend hours a day on our group chat sharing memes. Our management has one-on-one meetings every 2 weeks with the goal of, this meeting is not work-related, but we want to know just how you're doing, how's life treating you, what do you need? There's constant communication about expectations and how we can better meet them, and how they can help us perform better. The majority of the company's profits are used to better employee lives. I get monthly commission and residuals, and $30 a month healthcare with BCBS, along with monthly potlucks, paid lunches, competitive pay starting at $7 an hour. I haven't seen any turnover. Literally none. My position was only hiring because too many people got promoted. Story 7. When I was a kid, no one ever managed to teach me how to tie my shoes. I remember never being able to get that last step that ties it all together, and in general, I suck with knots. I would have been garbage in the Boy Scouts. I got into my early 20s relying mostly on Velcro shoes. But one day I sat down with a pair of new shoes determined to figure it out. I put one on and tied it correctly on the first try. I just sat there dumbfounded for a few minutes wondering how it had been that easy all along. Story 8. I was recently looking for an apartment, and rent in my city, like most cities currently, is outrageous. So after 3 days of looking, I found this 2-bedroom apartment with a price that normally would get you a roach-infested 1-bedroom studio shithole in a bad part of town. But these apartments look nice. They're in a good part of town. The reviews online are all positive. I can't figure out the catch. Then I see there is a year-long wait list for this place, but I decide to go to the leasing office, and after talking to the property manager, I get bumped to the top of the list for an apartment that becomes available next month. I keep waiting for the bottom to drop out. Most people spend months looking for places in my city, and they'd be paying a third more than I'm paying at a minimum for a similar place. I looked for 3 days and found this place, but I think I just got lucky and it was just that easy. Story 9, self-improvement and reflection. Stopped looking at outside factors in my life and started looking at what I could control. Weight, time, who I spent time with, etc. I didn't need to change my whole life in one day. I needed to make small progress. Spending 1 day less a week on gaming and 1 day a week on improving myself is better than not improving at all. Allowing myself to fail, with intent, to improve is so much easier now that I don't spend time with negative people that demand perfection. Story 10. I had a loose hinge on my door. It kind of drove me crazy for 3 years, but I had no idea how to fix the wood that had been stripped. Then I found a product on Amazon for $10 where you shove on a sleeve, break it off, and then screw in the new screws. Bought 2 new hinges that don't squeak. Took about 10 minutes and cost $20, and it's no longer a problem. Edit. Product is called Screw It Again. About $10 for 10 of them on Amazon. Edit. Thank you for all the tips about using matches, golf tees, shims, etc. Story 11. When I started my ad medication, I never knew how life could be, and how easy it was to just get up and do stuff changed my life for the better. And I've managed to turn so many things around. Can't believe it took me 18 years to get diagnosed. Edit. I am super happy to answer any questions, but there's so many here, so if anyone would like to message, I'm happy to have a chat, and thanks for all the love. I hope you all get to find your medication that can make life seem like it's on easy mode. Shoot me a message anytime. Story 12. Deciding to stop dealing with my life going in no direction after leaving a career that I went to college for a decade prior. I had something in the back of my mind for a long time that I wanted to do. I finally couldn't take the feeling of being stuck, so I applied to a local community college to take some prerequisites and started class less than 2 weeks later. I am pretty sure I cried once I did it because the relief of finally having some direction again and felt like a weight lifted off of me. I could literally feel the change in my body once I registered. Story 13. Sophomore year of college, my buddies were throwing a party at their house. One of them was a moderately successful DJ in the local college scene. We're having a good time, and the DJ was doing his thing when he had to pee or something, so he taps me on the shoulder and asks me to just stand at his turntables to make sure no drunk idiots fuck it up. He had songs queued up, so I literally just had to stand there. About 30 seconds later, 2 women walk up to me and are saying how much they love the music. I tell them it's just a playlist and I'm just keeping it running. But they're still super impressed. A few minutes later, the actual DJ comes back and I give up my post. Then one of the girls comes up and tells me to dance with her. One thing leads to another, and we ended up having a FWB relationship for a few months after that. At one point, I told my friend about his girl I'd met while covering him at the DJ booth, and he laughed and said, "Yeah, sometimes it's really that easy." It was the only time in my life I've had a glimpse of the rock star life. Story 14. For months, I had been applying for tons of jobs on every platform I could find, talking to friends to get critiques on my resume cover letter, updating my online portfolio, etc. Then one day a recruiter messaged me out of the blue on LinkedIn and basically handed me a dream job. It was one interview and then a call to say, "Hey, you're hired." I legitimately thought it was a scam right up until my first day of work. Story 15. Got a job that required full-time field work for minimal pay in AZ. On my first day, they asked about other skills. I saw other people using AutoCAD, so I said I used it in college, but I was really rusty. This was a lie. I had only ever used it once to draw some circles. They were excited and got me a 4-day refresher class. I learned AutoCAD and haven't been in the field in over a year. I later asked for more pay since I wasn't a field tech anymore. They said no. I got another job using AutoCAD for double salary. Pro tip: learn AutoCAD C3D. It's not that hard, and boomers will think you're a tech god.